Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Build Your Copywriting Business podcast. Hello, friend.
Hello.
Hello. As always, I am joined by my super spectacular co-host, Kate Sittars. Hello, Kate.
Hello, hello.
Hello. And today, Kate and I have the pleasure of being joined by Tori Gilman, who is a CCA student, of course, but an actively working copywriter doing very well for herself. And we're looking forward to digging into her story. So, Tori, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
We are excited to have you. I will just say that for people who are watching on YouTube, this should be an incentive to watch on YouTube because we were just talking about our fashion before we started. Tori's got a very beautiful shade of red for sweater. It looks sensational, and quite frankly, I need to step up my game. So
I'm inspired to shop after the podcast.
yeah,
So.
right. So follow along
Perfect.
on
We're
YouTube.
done.
Yeah,
Everything's
yeah,
achieved here. We're
exactly.
done. We can go home.
Done and done. The secret to copywriting success is bright colors.
Look the part.
Look at
Yes.
the part. Love it. And you do. You do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Well, Tori, probably the best place to start is but it's also maybe my favorite part is how did you get into copywriting? What is your story before copywriting? How did you move into it? Tell us all the things.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. So I've always been a writer, like at my core, right? So I wrote creatively a lot growing up. I always liked to write. I was told I was a good writer, like in school growing up. But just like everybody, I at some point got one or a million people saying, well, you don't make money as a writer. The arts don't make money. You have to write a best-selling book to make any money as a writer. So I went to school for business, and I knew my entire 4 years in undergrad that I was going to be in sales. Everyone told me growing up, you would kill it in sales. You'd be so good at that. So I'm like, I want to do something that I'd be good at, and I want to make a lot of money, right? I am not a materialistic person, but I like nice things. So I'm like, I want to make good money out of college. So I had a couple sales positions after college, and very quickly realized at my core, I'm an introvert. And I hated sales. I hated it. And so I kind of had this very quick crisis, like career crisis, where I'm like, okay, this thing that I thought I was going to do forever, that I thought I was going to climb the corporate ladder and be so good at, I hate it. I was miserable. I was anxious every day. I woke up and dreaded my job. I even had the privilege of working from home in one of my roles, and that wasn't enough to make me like it. Like, I really tried to fix everything that I could. And I was like, I am just not built to be in the corporate setting. I tried something different than sales. I'm like, I hate that. I could not sit in a cubicle. And my dad had always told me growing up, he's like, I don't ever see you sitting in an office. Like, I just don't see it for you. Um, and I'm a dreamer at my core, right? So I'm like, I have got to figure out a way to do something that I don't hate. Like my life, I can't live my life like this, right? I'm only 2 years out of college. I will not succumb to the pressure of just working a 9 to 5. And so I don't know if it's because I'm a Christian and I started praying about it, or if it's because my phone heard me, but your ads started popping up.
A mix of both.
It's
Yeah,
I know,
exactly. I
right?
would say
I
both.
know.
Yeah,
I'm
yes.
like, is that God or is that Kate? I don't just Nikki,
I ask
is
myself that
you?
question every day.
And I'm like, Nikki, I hear you. But yeah, so
It's me, Tori.
when I was feeling so anxious and depressed about work, all I really wanted to do after work was just journal and write about things that would take my mind away from the job that I hated. So I was writing a lot. I was talking about creative writing. It was the first time I had written, since I was young. I hadn't written in a while. And so a mix of, talking about wanting a career change and talking about my love for writing. I started getting your ads. Thank God I did. And I was just like, okay, so there are ways to make money as a writer, I guess. I'm like, this sounds a little too good to be true. So I did a lot of research. I waited a long time. I sat on it. And then, I was getting your guys' emails of like, time's running out. And I'm like, I know it is. And in my head, I'm like, it really is running out. I can't live like this much longer. And I kind of got to the point where I was like, what do I have to lose? I have a little bit of money saved. I might invest what feels right now is a big chunk of money, and either it's going to change my life for the better, or I'm just going to gain more skills that I can then use to better communicate in my career, to put on my resume, etc. So I bought it for myself as like a little early Christmas present. I did the course and I started to have something to look forward to again. So instead of waking up in the mornings and getting right on my computer where I was sending emails to about something that I didn't care about, honestly, I instead would get up and the first thing I would do was spend 15 or 20 minutes on the course. And it felt like it lit a fire inside of me again. And I was excited, and so I started doing some small freelance projects where I'm like, "Can I get a client? Like, let's see if I can even get a client." And I started getting small projects, and luckily, I have the privilege of having a lot of support from my family, my husband, my friends, and they were like, "Do it, take the leap." So, I left my full-time job, and I was like, "I'm gonna take this full time. I don't know what it looks like. I've done one project for money, but like, let's just try to jump and see what happens." And yeah, 2 years later, I am like I could break into tears thinking about how blessed and grateful I am. I mean, it has changed my life for the better. I'm making money that I'm so comfortable with. I have balance, and I'm so grateful.
Oh, I love
Good
that.
for you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah. Oh my
Thank
Yes.
goodness.
you. Thank
Yes, and
you.
good for you for taking action and digging in because it's not an easy decision, is it,
It's
to
not.
change a career?
No.
Especially when you invested all that time and you went to school for yeah.
Yeah. It made me start to wonder, like, was what I did before this a waste? But, I think about how every step in life, even things that don't work out, are building blocks, and it's a way to learn. And I gained so many amazing skills from college, intangible skills that are super valuable. And from my sales positions, I'm so grateful to those people who mentored me and gave me an opportunity and saw something in me. I built lifelong relationships with people at those positions. And so all of it was for something, but it's like it led me to this place where I'm like, thank God I took a chance. It's just sometimes you hear these stories about successful people and they're like, sometimes you have to take really scary risks. And that was kind of the thing that kept speaking to me was like, just take the risk.
Mhm. But I love how you phrased it too. It's what is the worst that can happen? I feel like
Yeah.
we think it feels so scary or risky, I think, because we jump to, oh my God, am I going to do a complete career change now? Versus like your mindset of putting it back to, I could gain a few skills or I could change my life. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be, I don't have to commit to changing my career fully if I don't want
Yeah.
to.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I knew immediately that I was gaining some really valuable skills from the course. I mean, even if I would have never switched to copywriting, just the ability to be able to communicate in a way, in a written format,
Mm.
and especially somebody who is in sales or marketing or any realm, really, like you learn how to tap into people's emotions, and if you can do that and find out what motivates people, you can really do any job better. So,
Yeah.
it's super valuable.
Well, so what does your now that you are all in on freelance copywriting, what do your days look like now, and what kinds of clients are you working for? Obviously, you don't have to tell us who the clients are for privacy, but give us a sense of what your career looks like now. Hey there, it's Nikki. I wanted to take a very quick minute to make sure that you knew about our free on-demand copywriting training. Now, whether you are brand new to copywriting or you've been doing it for a while but you just can't seem to hit those income goals, this training is for you. You are going to learn the 3 secrets to landing freelance copywriting work without relying on frustrating job bidding sites like Upwork or Fiverr, or without cold calling strangers. And if you've watched any of the student success stories on this channel, and if you haven't yet, check them out. This is the exact same training that they all started with. And I mean students like Kate K, who is making 6 figures working part-time and retired her husband to help her build her business. Students like Stuart, who replaced his full-time salary, which was a good one, with his freelance income and then some. Stacy, who hit 6 figures in her first 6 months as a freelance copywriter, and Ashley, who landed the in-house copywriting job of her dreams. They all started with this free training, and you can start with this free training too. So sign up right now at freecopywritingtraining.com.
Yeah. So luckily, after doing full-time freelance for 6 to 9 months, maybe, I started to build relationships with companies where I could do retainer work or contract work, which is super nice. I know you guys talk about in the course and in a lot of the coaching calls how it's, recurring revenue. It's really nice to have. It helps you live more comfortably, and have a steady income. But it's also really nice because it gives me a little bit of a structured schedule. I love the ability to build my own day out and build my own schedule, but I have some retainer clients where it's like, okay, I know that I have to work X amount of hours on their projects this week, or I have to execute, XYZ for them this month. So I'm able to like build out my days to kind of structure around those clients that are consistent that I'm doing work for. And then in addition to that, I know I make a comfortable living doing that, and anything else that I want, if I want extra money for Christmas or something like that, then I can go pursue some additional like freelance projects on the side. So right now I am pretty much, waking up. I wake up when I want, which is so nice. I'm not like one to sleep in. I like to work out early in the morning, but being able to like wake up, do my workout, and then like start on my own time is so nice. So I typically will like catch up on my email. I have an email for my business, and then I also have an email for a couple clients that I do like part-time work for, doing copy on their team. So I'll kind of catch up on my emails, and then I usually carve out like the late morning of my day for project work. That's when I have found out I'm productive based on, I know you guys do a lot of courses on finding out when your brain can do creative work. And that was really important for me as like a neurodivergent person. So I do a lot of project work in like the late morning, early afternoon. It's a little bit quiet. Clients are at lunch. And then end of day, I kind of go back to like emails, administrative work, etc. I also find myself to be really productive in the evenings. So sometimes I'll just take an afternoon off and I'll go hang out with my niece or go grab lunch with a client. And then the evenings I can kind of dive into more project work. The world is quiet. Nobody's bugging me. Um, so yeah, it really depends on the day, which is what's nice. My Mondays are always different than my Thursdays and Fridays. And um, I don't feel like it's Groundhog's Day every day. It's a little bit different. So it's really nice, but a lot of project work, a lot of administrative. Yeah, it's nice to be able to kind of decide when I want to do those things.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Once you start really tuning into when the best time is for you, it becomes, especially as a freelancer, it becomes so much easier to just, okay, I'm gonna lean into that. Think back to when I worked in an and I'm sure I did excellent work for people. But I think back to being in an office and just knowing that my 2 to 4 in the afternoon is so useless for my
Yeah.
own business. I think, like, I must have just been going into the kitchen, stopping by people's desks, be like, "Hey, what are you working on?" You know? I must have been that person.
I know, it's
Apologies to
so
everybody who worked for
true.
me.
It's
Yeah.
so true. And
Like,
it's like, I have a lot of friends in the corporate realm still, and it works for them, and that's great. And they talk about how like they have to go to the office this time of year, but nothing's really happening. Everybody's just kind of twiddling their thumbs. And I'm like, thank goodness, I have the freedom to like, if it is quiet, which it is a little bit quiet this time of year, and I could go seek out new work, but I'm pretty happy having the extra time on my hands
Yeah.
to spend with family. It's like, if it is quiet one day, I can, go hang out with my niece or see her Christmas play or, just go get breakfast with a friend, like, or go to a networking event that, if I were in corporate America, I wouldn't be able to do that. So those types of things are just so invaluable. Time.
mhm.
Time is the biggest resource, and I feel so much freedom in how I spend my time now, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and now that you have moved from it's interesting though, because, like you said, you had the sales background, but you get to do sales just in kind of a different writing way. But thinking about waking up and just dreading your day, and I think we've all been there at various places in our career. I think way back to before copywriting for me and being like, "Yeah, I can't do this." And
Yeah.
now getting up and looking forward to your day, how has that impacted kind of just, I guess, your life in general or your relationships, any of that kind of stuff?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said relationships. It's insane. I mean, if you talk to my family and friends, they would tell you I'm a different person. And my family says it all the time. They're like, "Man, I'm so grateful that, you feel like you again, right? You weren't yourself when you were not working for yourself." And I just think like I'm able to tackle these personal and professional goals head on and like reach my potential in so many capacities in a way that I wouldn't have if I were still in corporate America, because you just feel like you're always working for somebody else's goals. And now it's like I'm working for my goals and I'm working for my family's goals. And when I was felt really stuck in my corporate positions, it was taxing on my husband too, right? And he never wanted to admit that, but I was not my best self, and I was drained after work emotionally and physically, and I wasn't able to give him 110% in my personal life. And now I'm able to flex my hours to, better care for our life and our family, and just be that kind of that like foundation at home for us, because I don't have somebody to report to every day, and I don't have a certain amount of hours I have to check every day. So just the way that I'm able to pour into my family and friends more, and be more myself, because I like look forward to life in a way that I didn't before. I think, maybe some people can't relate, but I think a lot of people can relate that, like, they say that a job is a job, but like our work is so much of our life. And people who are miserable at their jobs, I have such empathy for them, because not everybody has the ability to take those leaps. But for people who can, like, do it, because if anything, you fail and you can go back to old habits or old positions, or try again in a different capacity. But I mean, there's just something inside of us that I think we all know what our dream is, and every job is gonna become a job, right? I don't wake up every day like, "Oh, all I wanna do is work today. That's my favorite thing to do in the world." Everything's a job. Some days I wake up and I don't feel like doing my work. But, just the ability to have, like, autonomy over my schedule, over my life, it has just it just makes me a better, happier, more fulfilled person, and I think that pours into every area of my life.
Yeah. I love that. I think we talk about that a lot in terms of like what we value, and we say, we value friends, family, relationships, often, or health. And I love hearing you say
Yeah,
you can work out and you can prioritize getting that workout
yeah,
in, and then being your best self with your family and friends. And I feel like too often our jobs don't allow us to prioritize what we actually want to prioritize, whereas you're able to, which is amazing.
yeah. It's really so true. I mean, you have to find what works for you, and like I said, money is important to me too. Like, I like, to live comfortably, to be able to give to people, to just I wanna live a comfortable life, but money's not everything to me. And knowing that I can do what I like, have balance, and make great money. Like I said, it sounded too good to be true, but like, thank God I took a chance. And I think that, is a testament to the genuine nature of you, Kate and Nikki, because I just felt like I trusted you guys, even though you were just through a screen. I'm like, this something feels right about this, and thank God I did it, because you have to find what's important to you and run with it. And luckily, this is so fulfilling for me in a lot of ways.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, and again,
Thank you
it's
for
not that
saying
it's
that too.
yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Well, and again, not that it's all about money, but are you comfortable sharing what kind of an income you're looking at?
Yeah, so the position that I'm in currently, I have kind of a small agency model a little bit. So I have
Yeah.
found that it works really well, to find designers that I like to work with, and have, I don't want to use the word control, because I don't like that word, but to be able to have like a better handle on the project as a whole, because I have kind of fallen into like a creative director role in some of these projects. And so I've able to have designers that are, kind of work part time for me. So I have made over 6 figures in revenue this year.
Good for
And
you.
it's really cool, because it was on my goals. The CCA goal sheet was to make what I made at my corporate job within a year. So I checked that box. And then to make 6 figures within 3 years. And so I got that in two. And then it was on my goal list to be on the CCA podcast one day. And
What?
that was my 5-year plan. So we're ahead of the game. Year two. Nailed it. So
Did it.
it's so true. Like, I was never somebody to write goals down. I
Mhm.
just had them in my head, and that never worked very well. And the CCA is actually what forced me to like start writing my goals down. And so to go back on those pieces of paper and be like, "Oh, I did this. It's really cool." And it's very full circle. I think there is something to putting it down on paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank
Congratulations for
you.
hitting all of those goals. And
Thank you.
congratulations too for I mean, first of all, that you just you went in, you went all in on it. That like
Yeah.
that takes nerve, and good for you for doing that. but also for giving yourself goals that were like kind of stretch goals, right? To
Yeah.
replace a corporate income within a year is like, okay, I'm gonna have to hustle. And then to hit six figures in 2 is so fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank
But
you.
again, hitting the goals, yes, but also even making those goals. Congratulations for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I would encourage anybody, like, I had a really hard time with making big goals. And I would say, like my husband, my family were the ones that were like, if you're going to do this, go all in. And really encouraged me to to set my mind on things that are big and scary. But as you guys, I listened to the podcast, I would do coaching calls. Like I really went all in on CCA at the beginning. And I think, you guys were the ones that were like, just put it out there. Like, think big. And, everybody, you start to write it and you're like, I'm like scared writing it. And I like don't want to write it because then it's real and I have to think about it and look back at it. But I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You fall short and then you just keep chipping away at it. There are so many goals on that list that I haven't achieved yet. And I didn't hit in that time period that I wanted to, but I encourage people to just think big because you really don't lose anything by just thinking big.
Mhm. Mhm.
I love that.
Yeah, what do
And
they
again,
say? If you
oh, go
shoot for the moon, you might if you don't hit the moon, you'll still end up in the stars. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
great.
exactly.
Mm.
Exactly.
I'm curious, and again, you don't have to share if you don't want to, but do you have other goals that are now, all right, you checked off some really big ones. So are there
Yeah.
other ones that are
Yeah.
on the horizon? Let's
Yeah,
manifest them.
I would love to. My goal next year is to have a few people on staff full time. So start hiring some people. I would love to just be able to like have a team. I think now that I've kind of gotten to a place where I'm comfortable with the money I make and the project work and the role itself of copywriting, I want to start kind of taking more of my time into like leadership. I think it's a passion of mine to like not manage a team because I don't want to be a manager, but like I really like want to coach people and lead
Yeah.
people, and make an impact on people because I'm so grateful for people like you who have made an impact on my life and given me this opportunity. And I would love to pass that down to others and to create, even a really small team where the culture is amazing and people want to work on it. So I would love to be able to kind of find a way to use my leadership skills and make an impact on other people's lives outside of just like copywriting.
I love that.
Tori, I
I need
know
to
I am
quantify those. I need to actually make that like
sure, sure.
tangible, but that's my like big picture.
I
That's so
love that.
cool.
I'm so
Thank
excited
you.
for you for that. That
Thank
is
Please,
you.
yeah, we're
fantastic.
gonna have to follow up with you. I feel like sooner rather than later, probably. I know you'll be like, "That's my
Mhm.
3-year goal."
Yeah.
No, this is like
6 months
6 months from
later.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
By the time this podcast airs.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I know it's just nice, like I said, the autonomy to be able to take it in a direction and not have to go up to, up the corporate ladder and ask for more money and ask for a promotion and a new title or to, manage a team. It's just like if I want to do it, all I have to do is figure out a plan and put in the work. It's really up to me where I take this. But there's like no ceiling, right? I just can kind of
Yeah.
keep going in whatever direction I want to. And I think that's the beauty of copywriting is there's so many different paths that you can take.
Mhm. There
Yeah,
absolutely
such a
are,
good
and I
point, yeah.
love that you're thinking that way. It's also beautiful too, the idea of being a leader and building out that team with the culture. It's in a way, it's kind of like giving back, right? That you have experienced this and now you want other people to have that same experience of really enjoying what they do for a living and enjoying the people they work with and all of that. And it's so beautiful.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that because it's like, even if I'm not, teaching people how to write copy, that's not necessarily my goal. It's like, if I can get people that have other experience, other skills that I can also learn from, right? Bring on designers and creative directors or people in completely different realms. And if we can all learn from each other and have a culture where people like what they do and push each other professionally and personally. I mean, that's what I've always wanted. And if I can find a way to cultivate that for other people, that would be so fulfilling.
Mhm. And you can, you absolutely
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is that every agency from, the tiny little two-person agencies up to the multi-billion dollar global agency, they all started with just one person and a couple of people going, I wonder if we could do this. So
Yeah.
you're absolutely right when you say that there is, not only is it possible for you, you take the steps, you can get there, and it really is as big as you want to make it, which is amazing. And when
That's
you're ready to
exactly
hire
right.
copywriters, boy, do I know where you can find some really, really good ones.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And that's what's nice too is I've definitely used the CCA. You kind of get to a point where you're on a roll and you're like, oh yeah, that's just I need to go back in the Facebook and contribute. And you kind of forget and that's a good thing,
Busy.
right?
Mhm.
Because yeah, you get busy, but I've definitely it's invaluable to be able to go back. I just had a project where I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't done that in a year and a half. I don't even remember how to start. And I went back and watched one of the bonus courses on how to do it. But the community is what's so invaluable about the CCA. I mean, I've had times where I'm like, I can't take this project. I'm on vacation, but I'd love to help my client out. Does anybody want this? Right. And so being able to put those opportunities in the CCA, and I know there's a lot of other experienced copywriters that could help me out there. It's like, let's go. We're all in this together. And it's, you're talking to people who are just starting out and then people who have been doing it for years and are making great money. And it's like, we can all learn from each other in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, what I think is so cool, and just I want to take a second of, where you were talking about how you got into copywriting and how, you weren't sure, like, is it even possible to replace, my career and change careers? And now to hear you be like, oh, I know it's possible to start an agency and I can do this. Like, what a cool, like,
I know the perspective
Yeah.
shift. And it's, like, I think it comes with anything. Like, once you do it, you have this confidence that just keeps building. And it's like,
Mm.
you can't get to that point unless you take one step. It's like what you guys used to say about resistance. I face resistance every single day. Some days I'm like, I have been sitting on this project for 2 weeks and I need to start it. Like, I just have to start it. And I have to create those little tiny steps that I can go through. And by the end, I'm like, oh, I could do that 5 times over. I could do it in my sleep. Like, let's go find more of those projects. And you just have to take those little steps to have the confidence. And it's so mental. And I think, the more you can put yourself out of your comfort zone, the better for sure. It's not
Mhm.
fun. Like, nobody wants to be out of their comfort zone. I hate that part of it, but gosh, it pays dividends.
Mhm. And then it grows, right? You deal with the discomfort and you get outside the comfort zone and then you're like, "Oh, okay, this actually isn't that bad." But
Yes.
then you start to get more confident. You're like, "Oh, I'm actually comfortable out here. Oh, okay." And then it
Exactly.
just gets bigger and then you're starting to talk about putting together an agency and then it's, you
Yes.
know, yeah.
It's so true. Yeah, you just keep stretching that comfort zone and you don't realize it until you look back and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so much better than I was, a year ago." And it's important, I think, to look back and reflect on the little tiny steps that you've done. Like we talk about it in the community page, the Facebook page where we all encourage each other. It's like, take a minute to say, okay, even if you just sent that pitch email, like that's all you did and you haven't gotten the
Yeah.
client yet, like celebrate that because you wouldn't have done that yesterday. You were scared to do that
Mhm.
yesterday. So those little tiny steps, they really do add up.
Mhm. They absolutely
I
do.
love
Um,
that.
Yeah.
Now, as you think back on your journey, and you think about, somebody who is just starting, or maybe they're thinking about copywriting, or maybe they've taken the first step. Is there any advice that you would give them, or any perspective to have them keep in mind?
Yeah. I would definitely say one, it's possible. I know it's so woo woo and it feels like when you're in the trenches, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is possible. But it really is like, it's so true. If you take 10 to 15 minutes a day, it's self care. To teach yourself a new skill is self care. And, if you just treat yourself to that 10 or 15 minutes a day of the course, it will add up. Whether or not it changes your life, it's going to give you a resume booster. It's going to give you new skills but also, like I said, just like anything else, it is not sunshine and rainbows all the time. It's not nobody's telling you this is a quick fix or a, get money, get rich fast. Like it's not that. You have to put in effort, you have to put in work. And I think that's what a lot of people don't want to hear. And they just want to hear how am I going to make money and how am I going to make it fast? You can make money really fast, copywriting. You can make it fast, you can make a lot of money and you can be really happy. But just like anything else, it is work and you can't make the big moves until you make the small ones. So just treat yourself to that 10 or 15 minutes a day, whatever it looks like for you, whatever your individual path is. Just create a plan and just make a promise to yourself to execute it, even if that is 5 or 10 minutes a day. Those little steps add up. They create big moves that you're going to be so proud of looking back on one day. And just don't be afraid to take the small steps, to celebrate the small steps. They will be bigger steps one day.
I love that. Oh, and I love that. I'm using the learning something new as self-care. Gosh, that's
Yeah,
good.
that's good.
It
Oh,
really is. You have to
it's so true.
romanticize it, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it's so true. You're so
It
right. Like
is.
Mhm. That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. I'm like, tell me more. I just want to hear. No, fantastic. I'm loving this. I
coach
really am.
us, Tori, please.
Yes.
Oh
Well, I'm
my
listening to this. I'm thinking,
gosh,
I
no.
can't wait to send this email. I can't wait to send this interview out to the list. I can't wait
know.
for everybody to
Aw.
see this. This is fantastic.
I can't wait to follow up with you because
Yes.
we're
Well,
going
oh
to.
my gosh. Thank
I
you.
know.
Like hearing that from you all is full circle
Oh my
because
God, no.
I'm serious. Like, not to be to get on the pedestal, but like I owe so much to the CCA. I truly would never have had this. It has changed my life completely, and like I want you guys to know that the work you're doing is so meaningful. It has taught me a lot more than just how to write. So I owe you a lot. And just being on here, even if nobody in the world saw this, just being able to tell you that, if I can do that, I've accomplished what I want to today. So
Oh,
thank you.
Tori, stop. Oh,
Yeah, thank
I'm
you
but
so
I
much.
feel the
Like,
same though. When you say that, I'm like, wait, I say the same thing to Nikki. Like,
it's
I just like,
Yeah.
truly
Oh,
though, like, thank you so
yeah.
much for saying that.
yeah, of course.
It's such a pleasure and an honor to be part of your story, but also at the same time, I'm really grateful that you would take the time to say
Yeah.
that to us, and
Of course.
thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
guys.
Well, now if someone is listening and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love Tori," which I expect that everybody
Oh.
who's listening, and they also say, "Oh my gosh, I want to hire her." How can people find you?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Your Right Fit Copy, YOURWRITE Fit Copy. You can also find me on my website, and it's yourrightfit.com. Yeah, that's probably the best way to reach me. I would love to chat with anybody. If you want any sort of insight, follow-up questions, you want to work with me, please. I love people.
Someone will put that info in
Mhm.
in the show notes so that people can get to you.
Perfect.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I agree with Kate. I am already excited for our follow-up. No pressure
Yay.
because you work at your own
Yeah,
pace,
no pressure,
certainly.
yeah.
Hit your goals
Oh,
at your
I'm
own
in.
pace.
This is so
but
fun.
excellent. Yeah, we'll sign off today, but I'm already so excited for the next one. So Tori,
Me
thank you
too.
so much
Yeah, thank you so
for
much.
giving us your time today.
You're
You're busy, girl.
especially
We
in the midst of
know
the
that,
holiday season
yeah.
too. Yes. We're recording this in the midst of holiday chaos. So thank you.
No,
thank
thank you guys. Seriously, it means a lot. Like I said, I would not be here without the CCA, and I am just so grateful. It has changed my life. So thank you. And you guys are real people. Oh my gosh. Look, if you guys don't believe the Nikki Katie ads, like, hey, they're real. They're
Real
not
people.
robots. Kate and
Real.
Nikki, here they are.
If you watch on
A little
YouTube,
too
you
real
know with
sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah,
real with
right.
my lighting situation, which we'll work on for 2025.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Well, thank you.
thank you. We really, really appreciate it. And with that, we will catch you all in the next episode. Bye, everybody. Like what you heard? Hit subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're ready to take the first step toward becoming a copywriter yourself, sign up for a free video training right here.